We got it now, huh?
Yeah, we in.
We're good now. What's going on, Coach?
Man, I can't call it, just working,
Nice, man.
trying to get the last moving pieces of the part together as far as the season is concerned. I'm in girls basketball mode now.
Oh, nice, man. So you coach all different sports, huh?
Yeah, I coach girls basketball varsity and obviously football.
Wow, that's cool.
And I do, my main thing is 7-on-7 football too.
That
We do that as
KB3.
well. Yeah, with KB3.
Nice, man. I just you the OG Deuce, man. Like
Yeah.
before CD Lamb, before any of them dudes, man. Like I remember you and Cal Gundy, PJ Mills, like Ricky Brady, Joey Mickey, all you guys brought in the passing attack, man. Like you guys ushered in the passing game in Norman before, it was all run, run, run. But you had some pretty good and like only 3 seasons of actually playing wide receiver because you came to OU as a defensive back, right?
Yeah, I came to OU as a DB, but I played both ways. I mean, in high school, I played both ways. I played DB, safety, and safety is really where I got the majority of my notoriety from. At the time, I was number 9 safety in the country.
Nice.
But backdrop to that whole story and to one of my dear friend, guy that I played with by the name of Jermaine Alexander, he, safety, most football people know that safety is a position for the best athlete on the field, right? The safety is the best athlete 9 times out of 10. And we had a guy by the name of Jermaine Alexander who was the best athlete on our field. And he was a sophomore. I was a junior. I played corner. And we were playing one of our rivals, Sam Rayburn High School. And I believe this was in 88. I was a junior. Yeah, it was in 88. And Jermaine was a sophomore, and he made a tackle on a kid, and he ended up breaking his neck. And he was a safety coming downhill, hit a kid in the hip, fullback, I believe, running back ran through the tackle. And he laid there, and I was the first one to get to him. And, I'm sitting there asking, hey, Jermaine, you okay? You okay? He's not okay. I call the coaches over. Long story short, he ended up passing away. Man. Yeah, I mean, it was a whole, imagine being in football and one of your classmates, guy that you're balling with, ends up passing away. And it just left an impression on me as far as football is concerned, and to know how serious football is. But also what it did for me, it took me from being a cornerback and moved me to safety. And again, like I told you in the beginning, safety is where I got the majority of my notoriety. I was the number 9 safety in the country. But if that doesn't happen to Jermaine, then maybe I don't play safety. Maybe I play corner. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
But I took that situation and I honored him with my play from there on out at the safety position for my senior year. And I've been honoring him ever since, because if it wasn't for him and God putting us in that path, then I wouldn't be here talking to you now if it wasn't for Jermaine. So it's a little bit of footprint of the history of how I got to the University of Oklahoma, the little backdrop story as far as playing both ways. Now, when I got to Oklahoma, I was playing safety, coached by Bobby Proctor, and I would go safety in the mornings, and in the afternoons or the evenings, I would go wide receiver. So I was playing both ways my freshman year. And then they decided, since I was physical at the safety position, I was physical at wide receiver and blocking, because obviously, just like I do, they put up a lot of championships based on running the football. not passing the football. Me and Kale, unbeknownst to us, were the guys that they were leaning on to come in and change the whole passing era or running era to a passing era. And so it took on a whole nother life itself. And the situation behind that, you know, when you're a first to do something, in the midst of it, you're not thinking, wow, we're the first to change history here at Oklahoma. You're not thinking in that regard. You're thinking of getting on the field, playing time, doing the best job for the guys that you got, that you're playing for. You're playing for your teammates, you're playing for your coaches, and you're not thinking about history at the moment. You know, some guys are fortunate enough that they could see history before it happened, but at that time we didn't have that hindsight, right?
Right. Well,
So, man, we started off that journey of me and Kale playing. He was a quarterback, I was a receiver, as everybody knows. But the backdrop, again, for another story, is that he used to call me at my mom's house and would be like, man, are you coming to Oklahoma? Man, we got to come there. We got to do this. While the whole country was wondering if he was even going to Oklahoma. I think at that time they were saying he was possibly going to Notre Dame or somewhere else like that, right? And he was telling me, man, I'm going to Oklahoma. You know, I'm going to Oklahoma. I want you to come to Oklahoma. And so we built a relationship based on that. So obviously when we got on the playing field, any ball he would throw, obviously I'm going to get it, and not knowing that that's how you earn your way on the playing field. And I was going against some great guys. We had Artie Guess, who taught me the majority of the stuff that I learned as far as the speed game of receiving. He was a great receiver. I think he averaged like something crazy, like 42 yards a catch. It was something crazy. His junior year, he was just bananas. The statistics, again, there wasn't a passing team back there. Steve Collins was the quarterback back then. And, you know, we even had a walkout my freshman year. I don't know if you recall that.
I don't.
Okay, well, we had a walkout my freshman year based on the fact of the controversy between black quarterback, white quarterback, passing game, running game, because when we started the season, we were blowing teams out. UCLA, who I wanted to go to all my career, I wanted to go to UCLA. They didn't recruit me, but lo and behold, God works in mysterious ways. My first collegiate game was where? UCLA in the Rose Bowl. Nice. And we end up blowing them out 52-10, right? Nice. And then, so we blow them out 52-10. Then we come home, we play Pittsburgh, and we blew Pittsburgh out. Matter of fact, my first start was at the Pittsburgh game. Nice. And my first catch was at the Pittsburgh game against Pittsburgh at home. And my first highlight was against Pittsburgh, but my highlight wasn't a run or a catch, or it was a block. I blocked a middle linebacker, knocked him down, and put him out of the game. Nice. But my block sprung Dwell Brewer to go, I think, 63, 73 yards, something like that, some good stat. So that was my first highlight, was blocking, you know.
Nice, man. Nice.
Yeah, so we even had a controversy because we blew Pittsburgh out. Then the next week, I think we blew Tulsa out. And then North, what's the school up in Dallas?
North Texas.
What's it called?
Is it North Texas?
They're green. They're in Dallas.
North Texas?
There you go, North Texas. We blew Texas out. And then we go into the Texas game. And going into the Texas game, the controversy was still there about who's going to be the starting quarterback for that game. Now, mind you, we won 4 games. Right. And the 4 games we won them in convincing fashion. I think we were blowing teams out by an average of 30-something points.
Nice.
And here we go into the Texas game, and they're wanting to start Kale in the Texas game. Now, mind you, he had been coming in all those other games and playing the back half of the game because, again, there were blowouts.
Right.
So we go into the Texas game, and they're thinking about starting and making a shift, and then they do make a shift in the middle of the game, I think at halftime. We end up losing that game 13-14.
Mm.
But this was when instant replay wasn't involved.
That
And
does.
RD Lasher made a kick in the last seconds of the game. We drove the ball down. Remember, Ted Long caught a nice pass across the middle. We got in field goal range. RD Lasher kicks the field goal. Now, it looks like, for us, it looks like it's good. But it went over the top of the goal pole. And RD Lasher's all Big 8 at the time. He's top kicker, one of the best to come through Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
And if we had instant replay, we win that game. But we end up losing the game 13-14. So, as you may well know, now everybody's in an uproar because we changed quarterbacks. We've been blowing teams out. We're trying to go to this passing game. Guys wasn't having it, especially on the defense. So we end up having a walkout. And, man, it was crazy. It was a walkout. The media came. Nobody was supposed to know. Coach Blake was telling us not to walk out. RIP to him, Coach Blake, historic coach who coached. He recruited me, Coach
nice.
John Blake. He recruited me, Ben Cavill, and RB Beavers were his first recruits coming back to Oklahoma.
Was a beast.
RB Beavers, shout out to
he was a beast.
B. Yeah, he was a beast. And Ben Cavill, who just recently had a birthday in December. Shout out to Big Ben. We were his first 3 recruits at Oklahoma. So shout out to them. And Coach Blake was telling us at the time, man, don't walk out. I mean, don't do it. Or if you're going to do it, just go. And we walked out, man. Well, I didn't walk out, but a majority of the guys walked out. I was ready for practice. You know, I'm having a great season as far as I'm concerned, you know. I'm starting. I'm a freshman. You know, I'm traveling. You know, I'm having the time of my life. Who wants to walk out, right? But we end up walking out, man, and it was a crazy time at OU doing that passing, transferring from the running, from the wishbone, the I back, the 2-back, the 3-back offense to a spread passing game. You know, so crazy times, crazy history.
Well, you did well during that time. Like I said, you had like 3 full years as the starter at receiver, and you still got the 4th highest like yards per catch with minimum of 100 catches. That's pretty impressive, man. Because there's been a lot of receivers come through. And would you say like your toughness at safety, like or in cornerback, really helped you at receiver, like going across the middle, like no fear, pretty much?
Yeah, it did because I had a guy by the name of my captains, Chris Wilson and Joe Bowden. They were both middle linebacker. One's was middle linebacker, outside linebacker. Chris was the captain of the team 2 years that I played with Chris, and we used to have a crackback block that you had to block the middle linebacker. The play that I told you about earlier against Pittsburgh, where I hit the middle linebacker and sprung the run, well, I have to practice that play. And I have to practice it going against Joe Bowden and Chris Wilson.
Oof.
Every time I go to crackback, you know, you got to go up the field first toward the corner and then, bam, come in there kind of almost like stealth-like, right?
Yeah.
And they would catch me because the corner would yell, crack, crack, crack. And they would catch, boy, when they catch you coming in cracking, and now it's Imano. And those guys were
Joe Bowden was about it. He was about it.
Yeah, he was about it. You know, about it at the time. And
for sure,
he reminded me of James Evans at the time in good times, you know, and Chris Wilson, but he was a dog too. So, you know, both of those guys were dogs. That's why I cut my teeth at cracking linebackers with those 2 guys. And when they caught you, it was hectic on you. So I had to do my best. And then you couldn't hit them hard, because if you hit them hard, then the next time they running over you. You know, they were going to brother-in-law you based on the fact they lived with the code of not destroying your teammate. Thank God for that. So they would crack back, but when they would catch me, they would ease up on me. And same thing with them. If I would catch them, I'd be like, I got you, you know. But hey, next time, boy, you better keep your head on the swivel, you know.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So I cut my teeth with them, cracking back with them. So that taught me that's where I got a lot of my toughness from too. Those guys helped me out tremendously.
They outlawed the old crackback, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. You can't do it now. You can't do it now. So
It's they've made football a lot easier nowadays, like the rules, and it's, I mean, some of it's, I guess, player safety, but um I don't know, some of it's just pansy stuff, I guess. I don't know. Football's a violent sport. Like, you have to you have to be violent to play the sport. I mean, there's a like an
well,
on and off switch. You can turn it on, when the whistle blows, and you turn it off when the game's done. And
yeah,
it's just
well, there's I coach football now, and yeah, the game is different. It is different, but it's different for various reasons. I mean,
Mhm.
understand back when we were coming through, we wasn't privy to the information medically that they have nowadays. You know what I mean? Because
Mhm.
I know nobody ever gave me a protocol, a concussion protocol wasn't in nowhere around back then when I was coming through. They would put, if you got a little wobbly, it was called a stinger, right?
Yeah.
Oh, he just got a head stinger.
Yeah.
He'll be all right. Give him some of that smelling sauce. He'll be good. So, those things, that's what they did back then. But now, you have to change the game. Everything evolves. Yeah, it's a softer brand of football, yet and still the kids are more skilled. They're more technically sound. You got guys like me out there coaching and training and teaching kids how to play within the parameters of the rules, but yet and still be as aggressive as possible in the game, but within the rules. And like I said, my friend Jermaine Alexander, I lost a friend of mine playing the game of football. So that teaches you in itself how to be technically sound, especially once you've seen someone get the worst of a football injury and pass away. So I think in that regard, I coach in that regard, and I look out for the kids in that regard, and I understand why they have changed some of the rules in football.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with it because you can still play a great brand of football and still be as violent, but also technically sound too. So I give kudos to a lot of the coaches out there, especially in USA heads up football. They do a tremendous job of taking that head out of the game and keeping in rugby style tackling. Just think of that. All those rugby guys, they don't wear helmets. They
Right.
don't wear shoulder pads. They don't wear any of the protection that football players play with, but yet and still, the aggression is still there. The violence is still there. So I'm
Yeah.
okay.
When I was coaching little league football, I had some parents come up, and they'd be kind of nagging about the kids' playing time, and I'd tell them, well, like, instead of dropping your kid off, like, just hang out for a little bit and watch what your kid does. Like, I have his safety in mind, because he doesn't know how to tackle. Like, and just you just like you said, you got to think about their safety, and I just wouldn't want to put a kid out there just like him spearing somebody, or just because he don't know the proper technique of tackling.
Yeah, I that's a great way to tell a parent about their kids' playing time. That's a great way to do it. And also, me, I always look within, especially when teaching tackling. Like I said, Jermaine, that's always on my mind when I'm coaching and teaching tackling. And I tell a lot of coaches, because I have a coaching tree up under me now.
Nice.
That I'm coaching young guys in 7-on-7, and we're bringing coaches within the organization and teaching them how to coach, right? How to handle parents, and how to still, as a parent from the sidelines looking onto the field, the game should look a certain way. Coaching should hear and look a certain way to parents. They're paying you for that, to put on a show is what I call it. And whatever your kids look like on Friday nights or Saturdays, whenever you're coaching them, be that where it's high school football or 7-on-7, it should look a certain way. And whatever you put out there, the product that you put out there on Saturdays and Friday nights is what you've done through the week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday comes out on Friday. If the kids aren't tackling a certain way, that's on us as coaches, because we start our kids from the ground up tackling. You're on your knees when you start tackling, then you start moving up on the process of making the tackle. And some kids get it better than others. Some kids are shy about tackling. I understand it because it's not normal. Kids don't walk around in the hallway tackling each other, right? Boys roughhouse a little bit more than girls, but at the end of the day, it's not normal for you to throw your body into someone.
Right.
But I like the way you did it, as far as telling, hey, come check your kid out during the week,
Yeah.
and see what he's doing. That's why his practice time is, or his playing time is low.
Yeah, it's like it's almost like it's just a little, a time like an hour and a half out of their day where they get to be alone or whatever, so they just drop their kid off and don't give any, they don't pay any, take any interest in it or whatever. But speaking of that, you said you got yourself a coaching tree. You started. Did Keith Blackman start KB3, or both of you start KB3, or?
Keith Blackman, it started the organization. Then I came on probably a year after he started the organization. It's now been 11 years for me, 12 years for him within the organization. Keith is the head of the organization. He is um, he's the nuts and bolts. He's the organizer of it. Keith does a tremendous job of keeping the ship going. My job is to be the heartbeat of the ship, the coordinator of the ship as far as talent is concerned, also drills, also the defense. I incorporate the defense and I keep the brand elevating as well, So I would be what you would call an assistant head coach and also brand ambassador. As far as the culture is concerned, making sure we're developing kids, growing kids, also not only in football sense, but also mentally and spiritually as well. I coach at Second Baptist, and I get a lot of my coaching techniques as far as creating culture from a coach by the name of Terry Purtle, who's been doing coaching for about 36 years now. He just won Coach of the Year last year for 5A Taps in our conference, and in our district, he was Coach of the Year. So, I understand about coaching tree. I'm a part of his coaching tree. And so I have guys under me that are part of my coaching tree, and I understand how to be a leader, but I also understand how to be a soldier as well. I got that from playing football all my life. I've been a captain, and when I went to Oklahoma, my first 2 years, I was under leadership. Like I told you earlier, Chris Wilson, Joe Bowden,
Darius
Reggie
Johnson.
Barnes,
Was Darius
Tom
Johnson there
Backus.
when you were
Who?
there? Darius Johnson?
Darius Johnson, he's under me.
Okay.
Yes, resting his soul as well. R.I.P. to DJ. He was under me, so I was his captain when he came through. I was a captain for 2 years at Oklahoma, my junior and senior year. So I understand that tree of leadership and being soldiers and being a good leader, but also being a great follower as well. So just
That's
passing those footprints down, man.
that's the probably the biggest thing I picked up about football is like it's more than just a game. Like as you're growing up, being taught the game, like it gives you a good foundation to like build your morals and beliefs and like your core values. It gives you a good foundation for that if you have good coaching around you. Um,
No doubt.
and I was gonna ask you about. So I need to get going here. So I got a who, what, and a why.
Okay.
So for the who, if there was any player, or I guess no, was there a player that you wanted to be like growing up, or that made you like fall in love with the game of football?
Uh, Walter Payton.
Hmm.
Walter Payton was the guy for me that made me love football. The way he played with such tenacity and power, but yet and still he was so fluid and so sweet, like sweetness,
Yeah.
his name. Uh, that was the guy for me. The high stepping, the kangaroos, the way he wore his uniform, how he played the game. Walter Payton was that guy for me. Sweetness,
Nice, man.
rest in heaven.
Yeah, he was really good. Mine was Randall Cunningham, man. The
Okay, great one.
first time I seen him play ball, I was hooked.
Yeah, yeah. Funny thing about, or historical thing about Randall Cunningham. I don't know if you know this, but he went to the University of Nevada,
Yeah, yeah.
and
UNLV, yeah.
I had an opportunity. My first recruiting trip was to the University of Las Vegas.
Nice. Nice.
I didn't plan on going there, but as an 18, 17-year-old kid, I'd never been to Las Vegas before.
Heck
So
yeah.
I was like, man, I'm going to take a trip to Vegas. And I learned the history of Randall
Right.
Cunningham being at the University of Las Vegas, but also Ickey Woods as well,
Oh, I
who
didn't know that.
years later I end up playing in the CFL with Ickey Woods at a team called the Birmingham Barracudas. It was the first year that the CFL had teams that were here in the United States, and I ended up playing with Ickey Woods there in Birmingham Barracuda. Shout out to Ickey Woods and Joe Mixon and P. Ron. They're all playing in the Super Bowl today with the Bengals. Well, obviously not Ickey
Yeah.
Woods, but Joe Mixon and Samaje Perine are playing today. Good luck to those guys. But I
Did you
seen Icky on the field last weekend, and it kind of warmed my heart.
did you get to see him bust the icky shuffle out?
Yeah, yeah, he did it. He did it. He did it.
Nice, nice,
Anytime
man.
he gets an opportunity to bust that Icky shuffle out, he gonna do it,
I
man.
remember when I was a little
Shout out
kid,
to
I'd
Icky.
bust that out, man.
Yeah, yeah. I have kids, and from 8 to 80, bald head, crippling crazy, doing the Icky shuffle when they do the ladder drills with me when I'm training. So shout
Nice,
out
man.
to Icky.
That's
I'm
good
still making
stuff.
money with Icky.
All right.
Yeah, Icky shuffle.
So, what is your definition of success?
Definition of success is continuation of progress. You know what I mean?
Nice, nice.
That's the definition for me, because success just doesn't stop. Once you become successful, it's a continuation of repeating the same things that got you there and learning how to continue the process. It's still successful people will tell you every day. The only difference between me and that guy is I never stopped. I
Right.
kept going.
Yeah.
So that's the definition of success to me, is the continuation of the process
I like that, man. Don't rush the process, trust the process.
and keep grinding.
Just keep
Deuces,
grinding. Yeah,
deuces.
man. That's
Yeah.
it's like it's I was talking to Rufus Alexander like 2 weeks ago or so, and
Okay. Yeah.
I was telling him that like the hardest part is just getting your 2 feet on the ground in the morning. Like once you
Yeah.
get your 2 feet on the ground, it's over.
Yeah.
No, you
Hey
just
man, once you hit the ground, you got a chance and a choice. What you do with that chance is up to you, and what choices you make is up to you. But you got a chance and a choice as soon as you touch down.
yeah, that's pretty good. I thought of, seen this quote. It said focus on the daily instead of the dream, but let the
Okay.
dream shape what you do daily.
Okay. Yeah.
That's pretty true, man.
I
Pretty,
like that.
yeah,
Hit me with it again.
it's focus on the daily instead of the dream, but let the dream shape what you do daily.
Mm, mm,
That's
mm.
really good, man. Cause like
I like
it's
it.
sometimes I'll get caught up in thinking like 6 months down the road, but I need to be thinking about like 6 minutes ahead of me, like 6 hours ahead of me,
Yeah,
instead of
no doubt,
6 months
no
down the
doubt.
road or whatever. Just climb, 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 climb. But
Yeah, and I preach to the kids every day about dreams, and dream big, dream
yep,
so big that your ego isn't there anymore.
nice.
Dream that big,
Yep,
to where you don't think you can accomplish it, but put that dream out there and just like you said earlier, take the steps toward the dream
yep.
every day.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's like and like your coaches and have a lot to do with that, especially today. Like today's youth, man, they're in a bad spot. Like there's so many fathers out there that ain't doing crap about anything, and the kids, they're just stuck in the gutter or just whatever because they don't have the resources, so
Yeah.
that's what
Well,
I'm doing now. I'm gonna change that, man. Like I'm
yeah,
gonna.
I'm trying on the same aspect. Like you see the shirt that I have on, sweater that I have on, it's called Circle of Influence.
All right.
Circle of Influence. Your circle of influence surrounds you with the love and care that you need to make a difference in the world. Your circle of influence also helps you in your mental and physical and spiritual aspects of your life as well. Your circle of influence is also going to determine your network and your abilities to get out of situation as well. Your circle of influence is impact in your whole being, right?
Right.
A lot of people used to say if you lay with dogs, you're gonna catch fleas. You know what I mean? So your circle of influence, it determines a lot about your future. So we use the program. It's a nonprofit organization that I've come up with and designed, and people are helping me along the way. But we're going to teach
Mm, very good.
financial literature to kids, financial literacy to kids, I should say, and all ages, especially in our 7-on-7 programs. We're going to start running financial literacy to the 7-on-7 teams. We're going to do an organization thing through KB3 and the Circle of Influence merging. And we're going to do some phenomenal things coming up here in the near future through the tournament circuit. So we got a lot of kids that are going to be on board and a part of it. We're going to start small here in Houston, but we hope to take it not only nationwide but worldwide. That's one thing America in our school systems that we don't do the greatest job of is teaching financial literacy. And we want to kind of be one of the programs that not only, teach your kids 7-on-7 in football, that's the platform, but now with this NIL money, the kids that we coach and train, we have an Adidas team that's one of the top teams in the country, and it has been for the last 5 years. And so not only do we want to teach them leadership, mental health, spiritual health, spiritual wellness, physical wellness, but we also want to teach them things that they can use throughout their lives, right? Which is financial literacy. Simple things like banks, checking book, how to balance a checkbook, or not even a checkbook, but how to handle your finances, right? How to budget, how to manage those things, because nowadays everything is off the phone, right? You calculate off the phone, your banking is on your phone, everything's digital. So we have to also be in a digital world when we influence and when we teach it also. So we're going to do that. We got some things working. Just keep praying for us, and I believe in speaking things into existence. And
Yes.
2022 is the year of the deuce. And we're going to get a lot accomplished. Yes, sir. Bang the set one time.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so, and finally, I want to ask, why is the University of Oklahoma so special to you?
The University of Oklahoma is so special to me because it's influenced my life tremendously. Without the University of Oklahoma, I don't have my first wife. After that, I don't have my first child, and therefore, and so on. the majority of the friends that I have to this day that I speak with, that I talk to, that are mentors, that are mentees, that I've mentored as well, are from the University of Oklahoma. If John Blake doesn't come get me and take me to the University of Oklahoma, my life doesn't change. You know, I don't know where my life would have been, matter of fact. That's why the University of Oklahoma is so special to me. And a lot of people right now are like, Lincoln Riley this, Lincoln Riley that, Lincoln Riley this. I tell people, hey, coaches and players come and go. You know, Lincoln Riley did well for the University of Oklahoma. He's probably had the highest percentage rate at, I think, 850% percentage. Lincoln Riley had 2 Heisman Trophy winners, 4 nominated, you know, for the Heisman. I think Baker was nominated twice, Jalen, and obviously Kyler. And then they had Spencer Rattler on the helm, and then even Caleb got a sniff of it, right? Yeah. So Lincoln Riley, he left. He did what he had to do for him and his family, you know, peace and love to him. But again, Caleb Williams, he left as well. Peace and love to him. But so did C.D. Lamb. So did Adrian Peterson. So did I. We all leave, but one thing is going to be true is that you can always pull up in Norman, and that stadium is going to be right there, and that campus is going to be right there, and those memories are going to be right there. So you fall in love with the O and the U on the side of the helmet, not necessarily the coach or the player behind the cap or the helmet.
Right. There is only one, baby.
Hey, there's only one.
Only one.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, actually, I got to meet. I went to the OU Nebraska game this last year, the 50th anniversary.
Okay, cool.
And I got to meet Barry Switzer for the first time.
Okay. Yeah, that's my guy, Barry Switzer.
Yeah. I was talking to him, right, and I thanked him and shook his hand, and he called me by my first name. And I look at my mom, I'm like, how does he know? He don't know my, how does he know my name? Like, I'm just freaking out. And she, like, points at my shirt, and I had my name tag on my shirt. I was like, the old man still got it, man.
Yeah. Hey, man, I'm not going to bore you to death with all the stories I have about Coach Switzer, man, but he's one of the greatest guys, human beings that I've been blessed and privileged to be around, and not around like on a moment of just football. I mean, family situations, like his son, Doug Switzer, was a backup quarterback at Oklahoma. We would throw routes in the summer, and Coach Switzer would come out there and sit on the golf cart and just watch us throw routes. And then he'd tell me all the time, he said, Corey, man, you'd be a first-round draft pick if you were a safety. You should have stayed a safety. Thanks, Coach. You ain't coach, but thanks, Coach. Yeah. And one day he'd say, Corey, man, you dropping a lot of balls today, man. If we had to play Nebraska, you wouldn't be ready today. All right, Coach. When he got his call from Jerry Jones that night, me and Tremaine Green were having dinner at the famous restaurant that he loves to go to, Italian restaurant there in Oklahoma. I don't even know if it's still there. But, man, he grabbed us and pulled us in and was like, I'm going to coach the Cowboys.
Nice.
We're going to play Nebraska, you know. So, and another thing that's even deeper than that, I love his daughter, Kathy. I love Doug. And I even put together Kathy and Hunter Miller. She's Miller now, Kathy Switzer Miller. But nice. I hooked Hunter and Kathy together, and they're married, got, I think, 3 or 4 kids. I told them, man, you should at least name the dog after me.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Y'all should at least have a Deuce dog walking around there.
Hell yeah. Like I said, man, like you were, you were Neon before Dion was prime time, man. Like
kind of the same time, actually. You know,
yeah,
Prime is a little bit older than I am, so I actually looked up to Prime. You know, one of those players that you asked me about that influence. Obviously, Walter Payton came before us, and even Primetime now in his coaching,
Yeah.
he's jumped on board and coached. I had an opportunity to meet him as a player through Wendell Davis and Coach Blake. Again, Coach Blake was coaching at the Cowboys. And then when he got his first opportunity to come back and coach at the University of Oklahoma, Primetime was playing for the Cowboys. And so he would come out for that OU Texas game. Remember that OU Texas game where we came back and we beat Texas in overtime and everybody rushed and stormed the field? Well, Primetime was at that game till halftime. And so I got an opportunity to sit there on the sideline with him and chat it up and ask him some of those questions in my mind that I've always wanted to ask him, being not only a colleague, but also a fan as well.
For sure.
From a player's perspective, you ask guys like that. And I asked him, I said, Prime, let me ask you a question, man. And he was like, what's up, Deuce? What's happening? I said, say, man, why don't you stretch before the game? And he was like, does a dog stretch before he chases a car? He just goes and gets it. I said,
nice.
You got a point, man. You got a point. But
nice,
I'm going to stretch.
Man. Yeah, old Primetime, man. He was fun to watch. He was so fun to watch.
A lot of people have these talk shows and blogs and podcasts and these different lists where who was the greatest athlete that ever played football. And they have Bo Jackson up there. They have Jerry Rice up there and all, Barry Sanders. And all those guys are great athletes in their own regard. But Primetime was the only guy that played in a major league football game and a major league baseball game at the same day. And I believe he also scored a touchdown and hit a home run also in that same day. So, I mean, the guy doing that, man, you tell me anybody else that has done that, and I say, okay, yeah, they're probably the best athlete. And plus nobody could catch him. And he could play receiver as well as DB. He probably could have been a Hall of Fame receiver had he not been such a Hall of Fame DB. And then he could kick off and punt return.
Oh yeah, I mean, scary lethal, man.
He was dominant. He was dominant in football, yet and still a trendsetter and a great athlete and a great player in baseball. So
for sure, man.
Prime time for me.
For sure. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you, Deuce, stopping by the old BoomerCast and maybe.
Hey, man. Thanks for keeping it relevant, man, and thanks for reaching out to guys like me that are, part of the OU history and letting us come on here and give the world a little bit of history while we still are living. You know what I mean? A lot of times we like to give people their flowers after they've passed, but thank you, Robert, for keeping it going. I seen you had Jason Belser on here the other day.
Yeah, man.
You had Cale Gundy on here as well. So, man, thank you for giving guys their flowers while we still have an opportunity to receive them, bro.
Oh yeah, you're most welcome, man. Like that era there, like the '90s mostly, was like that really shaped me as a young man. It really did.
Man,
like you guys
just
like I watched you guys play. You guys had so much NFL talent every single year. That roster was full of talent, NFL talent, man. Like the W's didn't show in the win column, but if you knew football and watched football, y'all boys was balling. Like, for real.
And like you said, man, we did have a lot of NFL talent. Shouts out to the talent that we had. Guys like Dwell Brewer, guys like Ted Long, guys like Darnell Walker, Adrian Cooper, Joey Mickey, Russell Allen, Frank Blevins, Stacy Dillard, Sid Jones. There's a bunch of guys that end up having great seasons. Darius Johnson, that you mentioned earlier, he's a two-time winning Super Bowl champion.
Broncos,
we got back-to-back with the Broncos and then got a pick in the second championship game. So, man, we had some historic figures like John Blake, who a lot of people don't like to hear this, but the guys that John Blake recruited, Roy Williams included in that situation. Superman, shout out to him for Hall of Fame, making college Hall of Fame. He was recruited by Blake, and they won a championship the year after they Bob Stoops replaced Blake. Now, mind you, we hadn't won one since, so we have to bring that into the fold. You know, when you talk about history and historical figures from the '90s era, John Blake doesn't get as much credit as he should. You know, with that, I know, yeah, or recruiter, and did it on both every level or every stop that he went through as far as recruiting. There's guys that I bump into, and they know that I went to Oklahoma, and they asked me about John Blake. Even to this day, last year, Jean Paul Pierre, JPP, he came to Blake's funeral and gave a tremendous testimony of how Blake helped him. And then I knew Blake's spirit was with him last year when they won the Super Bowl. So that's how relevant guys like the '90s era still have a grip on society and culture from that era. And like you said, man, we shaped you and shipped you to be the great human that you are. So that's a testimony to a lot of great people that come through that era. And I would be remorse if I didn't mention a guy that's still in my life and helping me out and navigate through coaching, which is Clarence James. Doobie, that's what we call him. And he shaped my life and helped me get through it. He's my wide receivers coach at Oklahoma. Nice. And also another historical figure was, this will be the last one I'll let, Gary Gibbs was a historical figure. Also,
line. Great defensive line.
Mac Brown, Watson Brown coach with us. Johnson, Merv Johnson. And then the last one is Coach Coker, Larry
Coker,
Yeah. And he's coach. He won, I believe, one championship at the University of Miami.
Yeah, they went on that 36 game winning streak. Under Coker there.
Yeah, so man, a bunch of historical figures, man. Thank you for bringing them up.
Did you play with Thunder and Lightning? You did, huh? Gerald Moore and
James Allen and Gerald Moore. They were freshmen when I was a senior. Thunder and Lightning, yeah. I just seen James Moore at the NFLPA meeting about a month ago. Nice. Shout out to Gerald Moore and Ben Cabell. I seen Ben Cabell there as well. So
nice. Monday I got Tom Carter coming on. I'm not sure if you know Tom Carter or not, but he was a defensive back in the league for 11 years or so. But
okay.
He's gonna help and usher in the NIL with the young student athletes.
Yeah, I need to get with him. You need to put me in contact with him for the financial literacy piece. You know, he can help us out as far as transferring information about what to look for within an NIL. And I got some other things happening with the NFTs too and kids. So we're trying to stay relevant and trying to stay futuristic and keep the deucisms coming, man. Help the kids. You know, that's all it's about. Each one teach one. Let's sharpen everybody's sword. You know what I mean?
Iron sharpens iron, my man.
Yeah. Hey, man. Great job.
Take it easy.
Robert, be good, baby.
I got to get a Boomer sooner.
Yes, sir. Boomer
all
sooner.
Right. We'll see you, bud. Deuce.
Bang the set one time.
All right. We'll see you, bud.
All right.